All those anti-establishment slip on your Doc Martens and say oi. Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 British punk bands. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, please subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're focusing on those groups integral to the punk rock movement, be it thanks to their unique revolutionary style, or simply for just raising hell whenever given the chance. So move over, Ramones, it's the Brits' turn. Number 10, the Addicts. Originally hailing as Afterbirth and the Pins, this Ipswich-based bowler hat-wearing group of rockers found success as the Addicts in the 80s, with a relatively tame style, lyrically anyway, with songs like Chinese Takeaway and Songs of Praise. An iconic dress sense inspired by the brutal droogs from A Clockwork Orange, and lead singer Keith Monkey Warren usually caked in clown makeup, the Addicts undoubtedly made a splash and produced some classic fist-in-the-air punk anthems with the likes of Viva La Revolution and Bad Boy. You've got to respect their theatrical commitment. Number 9, Stiff Little Fingers. This band was the result and answer to the bitter Northern Ireland conflict of the 70s. Bursting from Belfast to the tune of Jake Burns' unmistakable angst-filled vocals, Stiff Little Fingers has one of the most rock-solid back catalogues in punk. But it's the band's first album, Inflammable Material, that is largely regarded as their finest work, and is a 13-track middle finger that plays effortlessly from start to finish, and opens with one of punk's greatest hits, Suspect Device. Along with other foot-tapping tunes like Straw Dogs and the controversial Beirut Moon, they've endured a long career that stays strong to this day, thanks to Jake Burns sticking with the band through thick and thin. Number 8, The Jam. One of the most commercially successful bands on this list, The Jam has resonated on multiple different platforms over the years, including general pop culture and film, thanks in part to timeless tunes like A Town Called Malice, and the huge solo success of frontman Paul Weller, aka The Modfather. They're probably one of the most polished punk bands ever, with their surprisingly debonair appearance on stage and wide net of influences, including prog rock, which many punk fans would turn their noses up at. Their style did become less synonymous with punk as the years went on, but there's no doubt that they hold a significant place in the annals of the genre's history. Number 7, XRay Spex. Now this is a band that truly did claw out its own niche in the highly populated punk zone. Whether it's the sassy female vocals of Polly Styrene, or the ear-blistering sweet sax riffs which hook you, Spex is sure to get you moving, be it with The Day the World Turned Dayglow or Artificial. Their debut album, Germ-Free Adolescence, is widely regarded as one of the most explosive punk albums ever, and it didn't even feature the band's most popular single, Oh Bondage, Up Yours. It's baffling to think that even with a gut-wrenching debut tour de force like Germ-Free, the band took almost 20 years to release another album. Number 6, the Adverts.
Doctors are avoiding me, my vision is confused. I listen to my earphones and I catch the evening news.
Characterised by witty lyrics, prolific live performances, and energetic frontman Tim Smith, or TV Smith as he was popularly known, the Adverts certainly made a mark.
I wonder what we do when things go wrong, when we're halfway through a favourite song.
There's something about this band that's hard to put your fingers on, in a good way. They're not quite as visceral as some bands, but they're not as fluffy as others. Just listen to classics like Gary Gilmore's Eyes, One Chord Wonders, or pretty much anything from their first and only album, Crossing the Red Sea with the Adverts, and you'll see what we mean. Unfortunately for the world of music, the Adverts were only on the scene from 1976 to 1979, but in their short stretch they did it all, from the John Peel sessions to supporting Iggy Pop. Number 5, Crass. These guys aren't just a band, they're an anarcho-punk brand. They personify everything to do with anti-conformism, from their uncouth ways of promoting their music via graffiti and hoaxes like Thatchergate, look it up, to their instantly recognisable iconic logo. And we haven't even talked about their music yet. 30 seconds of pretty much any of their tracks will have you bouncing off the walls ready for a mosh pit, especially Have a Nice Day and Bloody Revolutions. And with the band's numerous different band members, each of their songs felt like it could take an erratic turn in a totally new direction at any time. Many will say that if you don't recognise the Crass logo, then you don't know punk.
The truth of revolution, brother.
Number 4, Buzzcocks. It's true the Buzzcocks were quite poppy, and they knew it and they owned it. Arguably the first pop-punk band ever, they managed to bridge the gap between overly commercialised finger-clicking pop and anarchy-laced punk with snappy chord riffing and hooks that came out of nowhere, and at the time that was completely unparalleled. Songs like Orgasm Addict and Ever Fallen in Love prove that the Buzzcocks knew how to smash out an instant classic.
Ever fall in love with someone, ever fallen in love with someone, ever fallen in love with someone you should have fallen in love with.
And in fact their singles compilation album, Singles Going Steady, is largely regarded as one of the greatest punk albums of all time, and it's a compilation album. They're a perfect example of how you can borrow tools from other genres and masterfully create something totally unique.
Ever fall in love with someone you should have fallen in love with.
Number 3, The Damned. To many, The Damned are like the godfathers of punk, claiming the accolade of first ever punk single released with New Rose, an album with Damned, Damned, Damned. But they were more than simply the first, with their unique gothic tone that would amp up to maximum punk rock overdrive at times and then plummet to somber gloomy lows at others, all spearheaded by the bespoke vocals of David Vanian. Although their first album was as impactful as anything, it's usually their third album, Machine Gun Etiquette, that sticks in the heads of fans for pure versatility. Even though they technically helped start the punk rock era, they were already very much ahead of it from the beginning.
I can't stop to mess around like a brand new rose in town.
Number 2, Sex Pistols.
God save the Queen, the fascist regime.
From the first time Johnny Rotten screamed God Save the Queen, they were halfway to becoming one of the most iconic bands not just in punk, but in musical history. The Sex Pistols spat in the face of conformists and have become a survival guide for anyone wanting to immerse themselves in punk, be it with their brilliantly on-topic and volatile tracks like Anarchy in the UK and Bodies, or safety pin garnished dress sense. From rebellious lip-raising bass player Sid Vicious to the distaste for the aforementioned The Damned, the Sex Pistols were a band you wouldn't mess with and have got more backroom stories than anyone. Ask the Sex Pistols who were the first punk band and see what happens. Go on, we dare ya. Before we reveal our top pick, here are a few honourable mentions.
My mother died of cancer when I was 5. No, I don't believe in religion. I was forced to go to church. I wanted to why. I'm burning. You'll burn the street. You'll burn the ghetto with anxiety. Give up! Give up! Hurry up, Harry, come on. We're going down the path.
Number 1, The Clash. To say The Clash had a shape-shifting musical journey is a bit of an understatement. Although earlier singles like White Riot and Janie Jones oozed the quintessential characteristics of punk rock, their later guitar riff-led tunes helped shape the direction of the growing genre, and it all hinged on their third album, London Calling.
London calling to the faraway towns. Now war is declared and battle come down.
This record opened up new doors that nobody even knew existed. Sure, similar to The Jam, their music contorted and burst out of the constraints of pure punk rock, but they still stayed very much cemented in their anarchic roots, and yet managed to incorporate elements of reggae, rockabilly and funk as time went on. They were integral to structuring the DNA in the evolution of punk. It's as simple as that. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Watch Mojo UK and subscribe for more great content.